happy anniversary, Bona Vista 4. February 4th, 2014 was the day I actually began the bench work on the layout, and here we are 1 year later. Not a whole lot has happened since the last update, simply because I was doing more videotaping for Dream Plan Build series. However, I have the first town, again, which is not named. The track is actually nailed down, and I use that figuratively and literally, and this is where it's going to be. There it is. All of the turnouts are built, all of the track is down. This is the, if you remember the old layout, this is the A1 box company, the A1 Diljack box company, which was located in Glen Oaks on the old layout. All of the plywood has been painted though, and that helps things a little bit, I think, just to for a visual presentation here. But again, not a whole lot has happened because I spent so much time doing videotaping. But what I want to do here though is do a little bit of a 1 year retrospective of this layout, and let's take a 2.5 minute break and look back on where things started. It took 7 months of track planning before I came up with a track plan that I was pretty happy with. I spent a lot of time trying to plan the track so that I didn't have to cross that doorway in the train room with track, but just could not come up with a track plan that worked that way. So the one that I came up with, I'm pretty happy with. Here's a shot, probably the last shot of the train room in February. This is, I think, the day before I started building the bench work in the train room, and here's a shot of the den on just the other side of that wall where the peninsula is today. I bought myself a laser level and set a 0 mark in the train room at 30 inches off the floor, and then started building the bench work by mounting some 2x2 studs on the wall and then building the framework for underneath the staging yard. The next step was to build the bench work for the reverse loop, and here I am laying out that trackage on the plywood for the reverse loop. And by March, I had the reverse loop laid and the single loop helix worked out in that corner of the room. And here's the corner of the room where the first town is going to go, and I was experimenting at that point to see if I could even fit a town at that point. In April, I started building the bench work in the den for the trackage that went in there, and then also finished that swinging doorway that bridges the doorway in the train room. And you can see I've laid a lot of the lower deck trackage there. In May, I blew through the wall and then made this insert for the track to go through the wall to get from the lower deck in the train room to the lower deck here. As you can see, I'm laying track in the den. In August, I spent some time painting a lot of backdrops in the garage, and then started mounting those backdrops on the lower level in both the train room and the den. And by November, I had all of that the lower deck lighting in and all the lower deck backdrops in. And you can see here I was working on laying the track on the upper deck. In November, here's my wife Renee driving the Golden Spike that linked the main line, and by December I had the turnouts all built for the staging yard on the lower level, and also the backdrops built, the valances up, and all the lighting done. So that's update number 6 for February 2015. We'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks, and hopefully I'll have more work done to show you then. Once again, thanks a lot for tuning in.